If you bid on this 1970 Fiat 850 Sport Spider on BAT, will you be bidding on an Italian dream or a rusty nightmare? Let's find out.
Bid Nerds is your daily YouTube card game show, where we predict the online auction results of the most interesting cars on Bring a Trailer, Cars and Bids, Hagerty Marketplace, and more. It's just like the Price is Right game show. Play along and see if you can beat the nerds.
I hope everyone in the nerd herd is sitting down, because everyone in the nerd herd that is a fan of the show knows that I love old Italian cars. So we have a 1970 Fiat 850 Sports Spider on Bring a Trailer that John Polnik selected for review. Thank you, JP, for contributing to the selection of cars. I know this is the exact model of your first car. Is that correct to say?
That is correct. A little history in the show. This is the first car I ever owned.
Isn't that cool? This particular car is offered
not this one, but one just like it. It was a black one. Sorry.
This car is offered out of West Lancaster, Pennsylvania. It shows 52,000 miles on the odometer, but it's true mileage unknown. These cars are powered by a 903cc inline four. These are single cam motors. This car only makes 52 horsepower stock, JP.
It's all it needs.
It's got a 4-speed manual transaxle. Bring a Trailer calls it yellow paint, but this nerd right here can tell you that yellow paint is called ochre. It's got 13-inch wheels, and underneath those fronts are little teeny cute, adorable front disc brakes, which, by the way, Mental, those are they're 2-piston opposed. So they're kind of sophisticated for a 1970 Fiat with no guts. But split chrome bumpers, wood-ridden steering wheel. All the news here is that motor sits behind the driver. This is a convertible rear engine, a lot like an MR2, right?
No, actually, not at all. It's a lot like a 911. The engine's all the way in the back. It's not a mid-engine. This is a rear engine car.
Rear engine.
Yeah.
This would be a mid-engine car if there was
if the engine was in the middle, yeah, whatever. Moving on. It would be a Camaro if it had a V8 up front.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, so much for the car's really small joke. JP, I send it to you. This car spent time in a California museum before relocating to Florida. The car was bought by the selling dealer. Yeah, nothing important there. So, JP, tell everybody why you love these cars so much. And I can tell you right now, as a guy who's owned a ton of old Fiats, this car looks really clean. It looks really, really nice. The steering wheel, the fake wood on the dash, that little cheap carpet, and the vinyl seats are in excellent repair. This is a cool little car. They say here that it makes 48 horsepower, but some of these cars were brought in from Europe. A lot of these cars were not actually donated for or designated for North America, and those other cars made 52 horsepower, which is really interesting, which is where I got my facts. But JP, I send it to you. Why'd you pick this 850 Spider?
Because it was my first car. Yeah, I mean, this is a total nostalgia play for me. Thanks for indulging me on this car, you guys. Like, this thing's a piece of shit. It is an absolute hunk of garbage that is terribly, terribly fun to drive. But if you do pull the trigger and own something like this, you will push it as many miles as you drive it. Even a nice one like this, they are designed horribly. Nothing in this car, everything about this car is just garbage, except for the way it looks and except for the feeling that you'll get when it does work. Because, I grew up in the Northwest, and Seattle is one of those places where it's only nice like 6 weeks out of the year. And that 6 weeks is so nice that it makes you forget about how shitty it is the rest of the year. And this car is the same kind of deal. When you're driving down the road and you're wrapping all 32 horsepower out of it, it's just glorious. It's just making all kinds of noise. The thing is rattling, and it's just fun. The engine's in the back. It's all the things that you want a little teeny Italian sports car to be, except for, power, and handling and anything else. But it's just, you're just going to have a great time, but you're not going to have any performance. And then it's going to break, and which is great for a kid in high school. because I'll tell you, you take your date to the movie, and then you come out after the movie and you get in the car and it doesn't start. And so back in the 80s, you don't have cell phones, so you got to go call someone, you got to go borrow a phone, and then you got to call someone. They get, and somebody's dad's got to come out and pick you up, and that's going to take a half hour, 40 minutes. So what do you do with your high school girlfriend in a car when you have all that kind of extra time and you can't go anywhere? That's the only bonus of this car. But it's not enough room in there to really do a whole lot. But anyways, this is a ton of fun. But just a piece of shit. You're going to everything's going to break. The what is it? The alternator, it screws right into the block, and the bolts break off in there, and you got to screw. I mean, just like everything. The fuel pumps, I probably replaced 20 fuel pumps. I mean, my $3.50 an hour job in high school was soaked up by constantly having to buy Fiat parts. What do you think of this car, Wade? I think I bet Wade knows. Hold on. Yeah. I think if Wade was sitting in this car, his head would be sitting above the windshield line. These things are so teeny.
Yeah, they're so small. And before he goes into this, I'm going to make a prediction about his prediction. He's going to say he doesn't know much about these cars because they're so old.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong. I don't know much about them because I'm not a Fiat person in general either. I'm curious, JP, how many miles did you have to push it, and how often did it break?
That's what I'm saying. Ed, like every other time I drove the goddamn thing.
Really?
I mean, so getting to work just was always late.
What brought you to the car in the first place?
It looked cool, and the convertible came down. Can you do my camera?
No. I want you to look at the comments.
I'm missing the comments. Dude, the car. I fix it again, Tony. Yeah.
No. Andy, Andy? It's on the screen right here on the TV. What did you do to your girlfriend in the car? He's trying to just work.
What do you think? We did our math homework. I mean, give me a. She wouldn't put out in the movie theater, so I finally got. Geez, you guys are not with me on this one.
I'm totally with you on that one.
And she didn't laugh at the fact that your car broke down in the parking lot.
No, that was the great thing. It's like
when she was done laughing, she felt bad.
She felt bad. Yeah. Look, that was the thing. That's the great thing about all Italian cars and sports cars. See, I mean, this is the whole myth that happens. Loving. What's that?
You got some sympathy loving.
Sympathy loving. Yeah, no, this is the thing when you come up, when you're growing up, especially in the 80s, and I think I have a video about this on the Der Fascination channel. It's from my TV show. It's one of my road trip rambles. It's like when you came up in the 80s, you thought, okay, I'm going to get a cool car, and women are just going to like fall all over me because I'm going to have this cool car. You buy into the fantasy. You're watching Fall Guy. You're watching Magnum PI, and they got cool cars, and they got the cool ladies. So if I get a cool car, then I'll get a cool lady. It doesn't work that way. They don't give a shit. They don't want to be stuck in a parking lot. You're right. So it works for a while, but that only works a few times. So then you have to get a different girlfriend who falls for the cool car thing for a little while, and then you get stuck in it. It doesn't
sounds
work.
like a full-time job in and of itself.
It's just not a good thing. Yeah, no. And then pushing the thing, it just broke.
How long did you have it for?
Until it blew up. I bought it on my birthday, which was like a couple of weeks before my senior year in high school. And then I think the thing seized up on my way home just before Christmas break. Then I had to go back to the old Dodge Colt. The family, we had a spare car. It was a Dodge Colt, 2-door 78 Dodge Colt, built by Mitsubishi. The driver's side was bashed in. You had to get in on the passenger side. That car, let's just say the girls did not like that particular car.
That's fair.
Bringing back bad memories. Mental.
I'm going to say, if you drive a great, big, huge, fast truck, everyone knows what you're compensating for. And there might have been also something too. So if you drive a tiny, slow car, what are you compensating for? So a little bit of salesmanship on that one. This is a great car. I absolutely love this thing. Yes, it's quirky and weird and everything that is just great about the car hobby. And you don't buy this car to impress anyone. You buy this car for yourself. And Anthony put it on here earlier. If you can't afford a Dino Spider, you buy this, and $15,500, you still have more taste than the guy that bought the Mondial. I cannot find fault with that statement as much as I love that Mondial. Yes, everything you're saying is true. They're just badly designed and old and hard to find parts for, and that's just everything that makes cars so wonderful. I love it.
So all that said, and all that nostalgia, Michael Deeb, what do you think some idiot other than me is going to pay for this thing.
I just want everybody in the world to know that I disagree. I disagree with my partner. I think these cars can be wonderfully reliable. Bad Fiats are terrible messes, and I'm guessing you
don't get it wet.
One.
It will rust like toilet paper.
Absolutely. The Pacific is Northwest is no place for a Fiat convertible. But if you live in Vegas or LA, nice Fiats can be wonderfully reliable. My dad and I shipped a 72 Fiat to Europe, and we did 7,800 rally miles in 15 days in that car, and it was incredibly reliable. And we shipped it home, and I still own that car. It's a fantastic car. This one looks really nice, JP. I know yours might have been a piece, and I'm not saying you didn't have every reason to hate that car, but I think this car is going to do okay.
Oh wait, I don't hate it. Hold on, I'll just for the record.
Yeah.
I love that car, even though it was an absolute steaming pile of shit. It was one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
So our car is at $8,750 on 6 bids, and it closes tomorrow. So the tea leaves don't look too good for this one. I think our car is going to bring. I'm going to give you. Man, I really want to go. I'm going to go $15,000 and just see what happens. This car should bring 20 to 25 in this condition, in this color, in the spring. But this is the wrong time of year to be selling this car. Like you said, JP, 3/4 of the country is asleep on convertibles, especially Fiats. And that's a bummer. I feel bad for this guy having to sell this car now. He should have sold it at the right time. And he's leaving a lot of money on the table by letting go of it now. Especially out of Pennsylvania. Nobody's driving this car home. So JP, 15 grand to you.
Nobody's driving it home. If you send a truck, it might break down from the driveway to getting on the truck. That's the only thing that's keeping me from buying this car. I want to buy this car, but I want to take it to Cars and Cafe and all the different car shows and stuff. I don't think it would make it to Summerlin from downtown Vegas. Yeah, I do want this car. I'm loving it. I'm looking at this, and everything about me just going, don't buy it, don't buy it, don't buy it. And if it's tomorrow and looking at it and it's under 10 grand, I'm gonna be like, God damn it. But then it's gonna be another couple $1,000.
It'll fit in your spot with your 964.
It would fit behind in one spot.
Yes.
Dude.
You could pick it up in your Macan and drive it home. It'll fit in the back of the Macan.
My buddy in high school, my best buddy in high school had a 850. No, what did he have? He had a Buick Wildcat. Yes. This huge freaking car, big 2-door. I think it was a 68 Buick Wildcat. That car, we would park my Fiat nose to the back of his door, right? So if he had his car parked there, I would drive it next to it. If I parked the nose of my car right even with the end of his driver's door, my car was as long, wasn't longer than his bumper. From the back of his door to the end of his bumper, the little Fiat would fit. So we always joked, it's like, shit, we could just drive this into, if we put some ramps, we could drive it into his trunk. I mean, they are teeny cars. Literally, Wade, if you were sitting in this car, you could reach out of it with your arms and probably touch the bottom of the car. I mean, it's just a micro car. Yeah, it literally feels like a go-kart because it's not much bigger than one. And that's not an exaggeration. That's not hyperbole. That's just, it's really not that big a car. So you gave a number, Deeb. What was your number? What?
15 grand, and I'm sure I'm the optimist here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 12,850 and pass it on to Wade.
I have one question for you, JP, before I make my bid. Do you remember how much you paid for, if you're comfortable sharing?
Oh, that's a good question.
Just so I can kind of gauge where we're at.
I paid $900 in 1988 for that car.
Interesting. Would have been quite the investment today.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure that car is like
disintegrated.
This is probably my car right here. There's remnants of there. It is. That's the left side door. The rest of it is rust flakes in the dust in the wind.
Oh man. Well, I think I think for $14,500, somebody will still enjoy it. Seems like a lot of money for a tiny go-kart that's going to crumble beneath your butt when you drive it, though. I don't know.
Yeah. Mental, what do you think?
It's a wonderful, wonderful car, but I feel like the double-digit percentage of people who even know what it is sitting in this room right now. There's a picture of it with sitting there with a bunch of convertibles, so I don't even know if this guy has to sell it because he's got a storage warehouse or something just probably realize they're not driving it and just going to ditch it. Maybe somebody gets it for Christmas. I don't think it's going to bring big money. I think someone is going to have a really, really fun car to sit in when it's broken down the side of the road, and they're going to love it, which is just what Fiats do. You're still happy when they break down. I think it's going to go for $9,500.
Whoa.
So that you don't think it's going anywhere between now
I
and,
just don't think there's enough people out there that want it. And I think you could buy this car. If you could buy this car even for less than 12 grand, have it for 3 years, you could probably turn around and sell it for about what you buy it for. You could buy this car, have fun, and not lose that much money discounting repairs.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. How much money is the going to cost to constantly...
Oh, Sahan finally showed up.
Oh, look
Sahan, just type slow. Just type it in right now. You
this
won't be
car
lying.
is definitely slow. Getting up hills was like, another situation. Should I just push this thing? I don't know. Not a lot of, and there were a lot of hills in Seattle. Yeah, boy, I do want this car, but it's like, I do think it's going to be somewhere in the teens, and with shipping and everything like that, I don't know.
All right, because the nerd herd is all saying you should buy it.
Mm-hmm. I like, who said, Jabron, who was saying that someone should tell Rami?
Ross said Rami.
Yeah, somebody call Rami and tell him to buy it for me for Christmas. It would be an excellent stocking stuffer.
Yeah, it would.
It would totally fit.
It would fit in the stocking. Yeah.
Rami will put an LS in it, at least half of an LS.
That would, if you did that, you'd be sitting on it. There's no, even if you put it in the back, it'd be like up your. Okay,
it would finally be mid-engine, and then Mental would like
Mental would actually be all right with it. I'd finally
Mental likes it already.
My Italian MR2 finally. Hey guys, I gotta tell you about our friends Godden Porsche of Las Vegas and Godden Classic. If you're looking for a new Porsche or a classic, you gotta call our friend Steve at Godden. Save yourself the hassle of screwing around with all the auctions like we always talk about, and just talk to Steve. He'll find you the classic Porsche you're looking for. Godden Porsche of Las Vegas. Hey guys, you're probably looking at your watch and wondering if Bid Nerds will ever end. So you better talk to our friends at Our Smiths to make sure your Rolex, Tag Heuer, AP, or any fine timepiece is in tip-top shape. Our Smiths, fine Swiss repair.
JP, you selected for us a 1970 Fiat 850 Sports Spider on Bring a Trailer. Really neat little car, very clean and very well preserved. Out of West Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Our car is showing 52,000 miles, true mileage unknown. It's a 903cc inline single cam 4-cylinder rear engine with a 4-speed manual and ochre yellow paint. This car, JP, with the panel gaps and everything, looks to be in exceptional condition for a Fiat in the United States from that era. Most of the cars from this era were left outside, and that untreated Russian steel begins to rot on most cars. This car has either been restored or really well kept. While it's not a great performer, it is a fun car to drive and looks honestly exceptional in this condition. With that in mind, we wondered at this time of the year out of Pennsylvania, would the car suffer from a poor winter auction placement rather than being sold in the spring or summer, where a car like this would be way more desirable and a lot less to ship, depending on where the car is going to wind up going. Reed, California, or someplace on the West Coast. With that in mind, no surprise to anyone that I wound up being the high bidder. I like this car. So I said $15,000, and I think that this car would bring a lot more money in the spring. JP, you picked the car, but we're a bit more bearish on it, saying $12,850. Wade came in just underneath me at $14,500, and Mental was the most bearish of them all, suggesting that this car wouldn't even break $10,000, and gave us a bid of $9,500. Now, the question I have for you, JP, looks like Anthony came in over me at $15,500. Thank you, Anthony, for that. And Hyro looks like was the low man at $8,000 coming in under Mental. Without further ado, our car sold for $16,500 on 14 bids. Me and Anthony are going to share the prize on that one. John, I still think at $16,500, this car will bring another, almost 40 or 50% in the spring. Maybe the 850s aren't desirable, But if you have the nicest example of any particular model, one that looks like it may have just rolled off the showroom like this one does, people will pay good money for that car. You got to also realize that this was like a $1,200 car when it came out. You know what I mean? Like, so $16,500. I mean, it doesn't sound like collector money, but it's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to think that how inexpensive this car would have been in period. So, JP, I send it back to you. What do you think of that result?
I was watching the auction because, as you guys know, that I had one of these as my first car, and so I had this definitely nostalgia for me, and I was genuinely considering maybe buying it if it were cheap enough. And, the problem was it was on the East Coast. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be at least a couple $1,000s just to get it here. And I was thinking it wasn't even going to really break 10 grand. Or I was hoping if I was going to be in on it. And it was sitting at like $8,700 up until about a half hour before it closed. And then there was another bid for like $9 or something like that. And I was like, you know what, never mind. And so I turned it off, and I went and did some stuff. And then, I almost dropped my phone in the toilet when I saw the results. I was like, oh, what the hell? I mean, it's like, what? 16,000? What? What do you think of the result, Wade?
Having heard your stories of the car and everyone else's opinion of the car last show, I don't know a lot about this, but I know more than I did, a couple of weeks ago. And while this is a really nice example of a really awful car, I think you have to have some sort of either sentimental attachment to it, like UJP, or maybe some Fiat collector, older car collector out there really wanted just the nice example of this particular car. If that's the case, then maybe this is it. Other than that, I mean, this is a ton of money, especially when I think you said on last show you bought for $900 and then it may or may not have disintegrated underneath you and turned into a Coke can by the time you were done with it. So this
30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, this is a car that obviously is well preserved, but other than it being quirky and mildly interesting, and
let's
maybe
talk about short nose 911s 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
but hold on. I mean, that's the thing. It's the nostalgia play makes sense for a car like this, but to how many people actually know what this is? For that money, 16 grand gets you like the nicest Alpha Spider there is, and that's a way cooler car. I mean, Deeb, you've still got your dad's boat tail Alpha, and those are worth more than 16 grand. I mean, that's the experience you wish this car was when you got it. When I bought this car, that's what I wanted it to be, and of course it wasn't. And I don't know why the hell. I mean, you could easily get a really nice Spider. What do you think, Mental? I know you think it's not quite as cool as an MR2.
Actually, everything is way cooler than MR2. This actually makes me happy. Now, and I'm going to go with this one, is yes, it's 16 grand, but we're all looking at it from our values of how would it do on a racetrack, or what's its actual collectability, or what does it mean as a performance canyon carver. But for less than 20 grand, someone quasi-normal, maybe some empty nester, got into an interesting and odd collector car that it's going to need a lot of attention, but at the same time it doesn't, because there's just not that many moving components. So this is an opportunity for someone who's got a cool car that they can take to Cars and Coffee, and you're not going to see another one. And then when the weather's nice, that person and their significant other hop in it and run down to Brahms or to the Sonic and get himself an ice cream sundae, and they're going to get $16,000 worth of joy out of this car when it's running. You can't subtract
they're not, because it's not going to make it to any of those places.
Oh my!
But I know we get it. We all know
it's how it goes over.
We all know, but
you can't.
Yeah, we all. But you run around this thing in the city. This is a great chance for someone to get into the collector car hobby, warts and all. And I think they got in for fairly cheap, and I think the owner sold a really good car at a good price.
Yeah. It's a good thing there are cell phones these days, because if you let your significant other drive this car,
you'll never see him again. Wait, just to put the performance into perspective, you could not drive this car in the fast lane on the freeway anywhere in Las Vegas. You would get killed.
Yeah, that's fair.
You would literally get killed. That's how slow it is. It would not get up to speed.
I would rather be in like a fake 356, like a fiberglass tube frame Volkswagen platform piece of crap.
Yeah,
that's how slow it is. Thing. Yeah, these things are.
I also think it was really well bought. at 16 grand.
Wow. All right. Well, okay. We'll move on off of this pretty quick, but Mental keeps bringing it up. Do we think this car is coming back? Is this a winter buy? Will we see this for sale on the auctions again this spring or summer? Let us know in the comments below what you think of the results. And let's move on to... Hey guys, thanks for watching this clip of the Bid Nerds podcast. Play along with us live every Sunday and Wednesday night at 6:30 p.m. on YouTube. And see if your bids stack up to the rest of the nerd herd in the chat live. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Nerd!